Okay, so this news, I find it fascinating that this is how the news comes to us from a blog on the New York Times. Expert panel withholds support for early autism screening. And this came out yesterday in the New York Times on their blog. In this entire article, there's a draft proposal has been published by the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. It was published on Monday, and it is causing some discussion to be had amongst autism experts around the globe. One expert, Dr. Susan E. Levy, said that when she was at a meeting and she read this report, she started having chest pain because it was that upsetting to her. That what they determined, this influential panel of experts has concluded that there is not enough evidence to recommend universal autism screening of young children. Okay. Now, what I want you to know before I say anything else is that this draft is open to public comment for 30 days. We are going to get you the link of where to publicly comment, and I will make sure that it gets up on our Facebook page. And I will make sure that that gets up there this afternoon. It's so upsetting to me. I'm honestly gobsmacked. Dr. Robbins, an associate professor at A.J. Drexel Autism Institute and the leader of the program area in early detection and intervention for ASD, said, "We have a growing body of literature that kids who start treatment earlier tend to have the biggest improvement, and we know that screening detects it earlier." The jury is not out on that, ladies and gentlemen. So what is the difficulty here? It says that the task force determined that screening tools do identify children with autism at young ages. The panel also agreed that studies show early intensive intervention leads to significant improvements in cognitive and language outcomes in some children, though not all. What's missing, and this comes to us from a Dr. Grossman, said that studies evaluating the long-term outcomes of children who are identified at a very young age through universal screening, the studies of treatment outcomes focus on children with severe symptoms rather than the children with more subtle symptoms identified through screening, he said. So therefore, they could not make a recommendation that there are universal autism screening tools. This is the biggest pile of poo I have ever heard in my entire life. I am incensed by this. And we know that only 50% of pediatricians currently will actually involve themselves in screening for autism. 50% of pediatricians because of poo like this. And it does make a difference. If they come forward with recommendations and say that that should be in every single case, that we should be screening for every single kid, then more pediatricians would be doing it. But this nonsense of, well, we shouldn't even bother screening for it, and our reason why is because all kids who get the treatment don't make the same amount of progress. Are you kidding me? Ask me if I'm mad. I'm incensed. So there is a 30-day comment for public opinion, and I think that all of us need to be commenting about how we would have liked to have had our kids screened earlier and what it may have meant to our kids if we'd had the opportunity to do that. This is not expensive. A screening takes less than 30 seconds for a doctor to ask a couple of questions of the parents and ask a couple of questions of a child at ideal times. That is not an expensive thing to do. There is absolutely no benefit to not doing the screening, and we know for sure that there are children who will benefit from doing a screening. This is unbelievably inappropriate. Dr. Paul Wang, who we've had on the show before, who is the Senior Vice President in charge of medical research for autism, said, "We feel that the risk-benefit analysis is very much in favor of screening. It will be potentially tragic if screening declines as a result of this." Let's all comment. I'll make sure that that's up on Facebook later on today, a place where you can go to comment. All right.